There's a lot of legal speculation now that the University of Colorado at Boulder could be the target of civil lawsuits. The Movie Theater Massacre suspect, James Holmes, had a psychiatrist there, Dr. Lynn Fenton. Now, reportedly, Fenton was so concerned about potential violence by Holmes that she warned the university's behavioral analyst and threat assessment unit. That's analysis and threat assessment unit. Sources say the unit didn't take action or even meet after Fenton's warnings. Now, this morning, we've also learned that the university has hired a former federal prosecutor to probe its handling of this student. And here to discuss the matter is defense attorney and legal expert Randy Reep. Randy, good morning.
Good morning, Jason.
Now everybody's focusing now on civil action. How responsible is the school? How responsible is, other entities here like the movie theater, even the movie itself?
Certainly not the movie itself. The movie theater, arguably, depending on what resources they had to prevent crime. Although I'll tell you, in our overarching sort of American jurisprudence is that people generally don't have an obligation to protect somebody from the criminal actions of somebody else.
Okay, well, that's important to note.
It is.
Yeah.
I will tell you, though, that the law is somewhat developing. There's a case in California from a few years ago. It's working its way up the federal process where there is actual liability being put on a school based on the actions of one of its students when they had knowledge that that student might commit violence against other students. That's a very specific category. The school, I think, is pretty clear as we see it developing, has an obligation to protect its students from crime that is foreseeable.
Well, let's talk about this case in particular. Now this information is starting to come out about this psychiatrist that was involved with him or dealing with him. The details that of course, we don't know very much about what exactly was said or what was in this journal that he gave her. What has to happen for the school to be, to be held responsible? And, you mentioned the specifics of a target. If he had mentioned the specific people, for instance.
Right. This is the thing where if they are starting to say a potential criminal is saying, I'm going to go hurt those group of people right there. So the group of people is identifiable. Then the nexus, the ability to be liable, grows a little bit for the school. You take Virginia Tech as an example. If he was posting or otherwise made the school known, I'm going to go shoot these 32 people, school has an obligation to protect them or be liable if they don't do anything. In the Colorado case, everyone's on a gag order, so we don't really know, but he said enough to Dr. Fenton that she alerted the school that she was worried. It'll be interesting to see if he finds out, but I doubt he said on the 8:30 showing at this movie theater, I'm going to go kill people. So I don't think you're going to find that a specific group was identifiable.
So just to be clear, if I were to say to you in a different setting, wow, I feel like just taking my gun and just opening up on a crowd of people, and you either say something to somebody or don't say something, does that make you or the institute you work for liable?
Well, now, two questions. One, me personally, as an individual, no, I have no obligation to intervene in your criminal activity. And good public policy behind that. We don't want people jumping in the way and vigilante stuff, right? On the other hand, if I'm the university, and I'm engaged in this student, and that student saying, I'm going to go hurt these people, as an institution, the case law is developing, but it looks like I'm going to have maybe some liability when that class of people is identifiable.
Is there precedence? You mentioned the California case going on.
And that's about the beginning of what we're seeing of this development. But you look at Virginia Tech, you look at Senator Giffords was shot by a student who was expelled because of his congressman, based on the threats, not specific to her, but that he was a threatening individual from the school. As you see more of this university context happen, I have no doubt that you're going to see case law develop, where some universities may be exposed to some liability.
It just seems people do want somebody to blame other than the guy responsible. It seems like they're looking to spread that blame around more and more.
It's worrisome, though, because if you see, all of a sudden, every time somebody goes to see their doctor at school through a stressful time, they're exposing themselves to being probed into it a great deal. It's an interesting development.
All right, Randy, thank you so much.
Jason.
New season, a new owner.